Hey everyone, so the AI boom is everywhere, promising this incredible future, right? But just under the surface of all these smarter, faster models, there's a huge crisis brewing, one that could honestly bring the whole industry to a screeching halt. Let's dig in. It really all starts with this one simple question. We all kind of think of the cloud as this endless, infinite thing. But what actually happens when a company like Google, a company with more computers than almost anyone on Earth, just runs out of room? So get this. This is the exact error message that paying customers started seeing just hours after Google launched its huge new Gemini model. I mean, can you imagine? One of the biggest AI launches in the world, and the doors slammed shut almost as soon as they opened. And here's the most important part. This wasn't some simple glitch or a bug in the code. What happened at Google was actually a symptom of a much, much bigger problem happening across the entire industry. It was a huge warning sign that the very foundation of this whole AI revolution is under some serious strain. So let's start by looking at that first crack in the system and see how even a tech titan like Google suddenly found itself completely overwhelmed. I mean, the chain of events here was just wild. First, you get those no-capacity errors. Then, as the system started to buckle, Google actually started banning paying customers just to keep the service from crashing. And the reason? A massive, unexpected surge from these new autonomous AI agents, which were just devouring server resources like crazy. For a company that built its entire reputation on infinite scale, this was a five-alarm fire. But here's the thing. This wasn't just some isolated Google problem. Oh no. It was really the canary in the coal mine, the first big public sign of a problem that was hitting every single major player in AI. If you look over at Anthropic, a huge competitor, the story was almost identical. Developers woke up to find their usable capacity slashed, and I mean slashed, by up to 60%. And then the company took it even further, blocking third-party tools completely. And why'd they do it? Well, it turns out a single $20 subscription could be used to run these agent workloads that were costing Anthropic thousands of dollars. It was just totally, completely unsustainable. Now, this is where it gets really interesting, because you see this strategic split happening. On one side, you've got Google and Anthropic scrambling to lock things down, to preserve every last bit of their precious compute. But then on the other side, you have OpenAI doing the complete opposite. They're welcoming third-party tools with open arms, basically betting that growing their ecosystem is worth the massive cost. But look, don't let those different strategies fool you. Whether they're building walls or opening the floodgates, they are all dealing with the exact same crushing pressure. There just is not enough compute to go around, period. All right, so that brings us to the core of the whole issue, right? Where is all this compute actually going? And why has it all of a sudden become so incredibly scarce? Okay, so the first piece of the puzzle is this term you're going to hear a lot, inference. For years, the hardest part of AI, the part that took the most energy, was training the models. Well, inference is what comes after. It's the power you need to actually run the model when you ask it a question. And this chart, man, it just perfectly shows the massive flip-flop that's happened. A few years ago, training took up 2/3 of all AI compute. Now, that has completely reversed. Inference, just running the models for millions of us, now eats up 2/3 of the demand. The bottleneck is no longer building the AI, it's serving it. And the second factor, which is maybe even more explosive, is something we can call the agentic multiplier. This is all about that new generation of autonomous AI agents, the ones that don't just answer one question, but can actually go off and run complex multi-step tasks all by themselves. And just look at the difference here. It is absolutely staggering. A normal chat question might use, say, 500 tokens. A single session with one of these new agents can burn through 500,000 tokens or more. It's not even in the same league, and it is completely overwhelming the system. Okay, so demand is exploding. The logical solution would be, well, just build more supply, right? Yeah. About that, this is where the crisis gets even deeper, because the physical supply chain is hitting its own set of massive walls. First up, you've got memory. Prices for DRM, this stuff is absolutely critical for AI, shot up an unbelievable 75% in a single month. And even if you could afford it, it wouldn't matter. The world's top manufacturers are already sold out for the rest of the year. Then you have the actual buildings, the data centers themselves. Right now, up to half of all planned data center projects are stuck in delays because of permitting issues and, critically, a massive shortage of available power. And there is no quick fix coming. Analysts are saying we won't see any real relief on the memory supply side until 2028, at the earliest. So, the help we need to fix this problem, it's literally years away. But hey, you don't have to take my word for it. Microsoft's CEO Satya Nadella put it perfectly. He said the ultimate bottleneck isn't even the chips anymore. It's power. He said, we don't have warm shells to plug into. Just think about that. We can make the hardware, but we literally don't have enough electricity or buildings to plug it all into. So what does all this mean? Well, this collision, this perfect storm of skyrocketing demand and a totally constrained supply chain, it has completely changed the rules of the game for the entire AI industry. For years and years, the most important question in AI has always been about one thing. But this crisis is forcing everybody to ask something completely new, and frankly, far more urgent. The old question was always, who has the smartest model? It was all about benchmarks and performance scores. But the new question is, who can serve their model at scale? Because a model that's a genius on a test is totally useless if your customers can't actually access it. It turns out availability is the new king. And this all leads us to the central, mind-bending paradox of AI right now. The industry is rolling out its most powerful, most compute-intensive products in history at the exact same moment that it's running out of the very juice needed to power them. Which leaves us with one final thought. The AI models, they're going to keep getting smarter, faster, more capable. There's no doubt about that. But as this compute crisis deepens, the real question we have to ask is, what good is a genius you can't talk to?